Sorry, because I don't want to say this incorrectly. So we are very, 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 very lucky to have a wonderful speaker with us tonight. So raised and educated in Ireland, Johnny Quinn arrived in Dubai in 1996, determined to make the difference between presentations that fell flat and those that sealed the deal. After several years with Philips Middle East, he started Audience Alive Dubai, and then in 2015 expanded the operation to beautiful Queenstown, New Zealand. And I've been told there he is never happier than when he is hanging out on his favourite tractor. Am I right? Fantastic. Johnny's key to success is to treat others as you want to be treated. And his current favourite saying is, which I think this is very profound, incredibly profound, the early bird may get the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. Please make him welcome now, Johnny Quinn.
Thank you very much. Let's begin. I love that he has his suitcase ready to go. He's that sure. Good evening, everyone. My name is Johnny Quinn, and I am a presentologist. Have you met one of those before? No? Who comes up with such a title? Yeah, an ology? Where does it come from? So one of our customers called us presentologists, and we were there helping him at the weekend. He's a CEO of a company, make better slides for him. Why couldn't his marketing company or his marketeers within the organization help him? Because they didn't know how to do it, and they didn't have the skills to put it together. So if you think about it, presentations are the visible difference between you and your competition. How good are yours? Are you presenting a list of bullet points? Have you got imagery on your slides? How are you getting your message across? Well, if I was to sum up presentology in one slide, then this is it. What do you see? What are we doing when we stand up and communicate with people? What does this represent? Connection. A deal being done. Money, yeah? Money. Budget, yeah? Improving a sale, making a sale. So we try to help people communicate better and close more deals. That's essentially what my objective is with you tonight, is to teach you and show you some of the examples of how successfully we've put the information across. Now, very often we'll see that people will do it badly. They work on it, but they don't come across. Did you notice right away there that I used something which is a spotlight moving around on the screen? So that's my first tip for you tonight, which is Logitech Spotlight. See, I'm not really afraid of the technology. Is anyone using these? Anyone got one? 1, 2 hands, okay? So if you want to connect and reach out to your screen, you just press the button at the top and you end up with a spotlight. And one of the things that Logitech managed to do is to create a product that will make it more engaging. When you go to events, people are using laser pointers, it's not necessarily helping. So the idea is to use the technology to help. It also vibrates in your hand, and there's another way we can use it. So we're going to look at some of the ways that you can actually make your presentation interactive. Because one of the challenges we see is that people are acting as the sage on the stage. Have you heard of that? The all-seeing, all-knowing person on the stage. And surely if we create an interaction with audiences, if interaction is a difference between a monologue and a dialogue, and we can dialogue with people. When's the last time you went to an event and used something like Slido, or they asked you to put in a question? So if you can use the wisdom of crowds and connect with your audience and create a dialogue, that's another interesting element that we could look at. So we're going to look at the whole industry as a whole, and if you look at some of these numbers on this slide, starting from the left and working clockwise, you'll see that there are a huge amount of presentations going on every day somewhere in the world. Microsoft say 35 million actually, but it's around 30 million. That's 350 presentations going on every second somewhere in the world. Now, if you look at some of these other numbers, you'll see that people, they don't have a strategy. Yeah, I'm working with companies in Auckland and throughout the Middle East, and I ask them, what's your presentation strategy? And they don't have a strategy. They just have some slides that marketing put together for them, and they're standing up and presenting them. But Jeff Bezos in Amazon said, switch it off completely. We're not using PowerPoint anymore. And that's a challenge. Some people are moving to Prezi or to Keynote or to another application altogether, or they're switching it off and not using it at all. And that's a challenge. And you'll notice that the central number there, you can grow your sales dramatically by improving your presentation. And on the right-hand side, if you can create that engagement with audiences, then people are going to be more interested. They're going to connect with you. They're going to remember your subject more, and they're going to be more connected generally with you. So that's the kind of current state of play with it. Fundamentally, we've got to change, and you've heard this term of disruption. We've got to stop and change the norm. So were I to start off this evening with this, good evening, everyone. I'm very nervous, and I hope you appreciate that I'm a bit nervous, but today's agenda is that we're going to make better presentations, and then we're going to move on to improving your speech. You all happy about that? Is it good? Yeah. Have I started with impact? Have I created an interest? Yet this is the norm. This is what we see people doing. And tonight I'm going to ask you to take 6 pledges with me to change these slides, to stop using it the way you're using it. Because the way you're using it is switching audiences off. They look at it, they read it, and they don't listen to you anymore. Yeah? So either turn it off or use it better. So we're going to look at the problems that are out there, and then we're going to look at how we can use it better. Because I've just made my 28,000 slide within the company, and I would like to show you what I've learned and what you should do if you're going to put visual media up there, how you should use it. So what do you see? What's wrong with this slide? What's typical? Why does it look like a PowerPoint slide or a Keynote slide? Because it's got bullet points. What else? Too many words, exactly. Yeah, what about the picture? The picture is a stock crappy picture, isn't it? Nicked off the web, and it's got a reflection underneath it, hasn't it? Standard PowerPoint reflection. But more importantly, what about this down here? I spent a lot of time and effort on my brand. I built my brand, I worked on it, and here I have it, stuck, lost, forlorn, shoved in the corner of the slide, forgotten, on every slide. But marketing say you have to do that, don't you? You have to have a banner down the bottom and a banner at the top. And you've got to put all your, it's got to be there all the time. Does it? No. Don't leave it down there. So we'll look at some examples of how to do it. Look, here's the problem. Nobody's going to tell you you're crap. They don't do it. Now, maybe there are people here who would shout up and say, you made a mess. You're crap. Yeah, okay, get off, yeah? But, that's really happening. And we're seeing it. More and more. People are starting to get almost cyberbullied, yeah, by the audience. We've seen instances of that because I'm the one who's watching the feed that's coming in from the audience app and approving what we put up on the main screen. I'm the audience concierge. What are some of my favorite statements? I work like a robot with no hope of creativity. Real comment from a real audience member in a corporate. I love my boss. I'm in love with my boss. Ooh, cringe factor. Yeah? So we get all these crazy comments coming through, and unfortunately, we have to filter them. I mean, if you've been to a conference recently, you may have heard of death by PowerPoint, or you may have experienced it. We have a lot of negativity around presenting. We have death by PowerPoint. We have bullet points, yeah? Where does the term bullet point come from? Why are we even using the word bullet? And we have hostage takers. Have you met a hostage taking presenter? Somebody who's got 150 slides and they're going to read every one of them and not shut up? Yeah? We go to great lengths to shut those people up. So this guy is not dead, but I'm at an event in Dubai and I recognize him. He's at the back of the room and he's had enough. And he's passed out, fast asleep at the back of the room. He has one of our voting keypads in his hand, and when we asked him to vote, he woke up and then he went back to sleep afterwards. But he's really bored, and he's one of the organizers of a conference. And he's actually got 400 people in front of him, but he's pretty much going to sleep at the back of the event. That's how unengaged he is. This lady came all the way from the States, brought her own entertainment. I went to her and said, "Excuse me, are you this man's wife and he snuck you in here?" And she said, "No, honey, I'm from Texas. I go to these conferences all the time, but they are so goddamn boring." Yeah, and the content is terrible. And then we started to look at some of the content, and these are real slides from real customers. "Can I make this better, please?" What could I do to this? I said, well, we could delete it and start again. Yeah, it really has got nothing going for it. Poor use of graphics, poor use of fonts, yeah, poor use of pretty much everything. Yeah, the colors are actually doing pretty well here. Normally you can't see them, but the font is terrible. So we'll look at some of the problems. But I know that might seem extreme, but somewhere out there, some of you have slides like this in your slide deck. The pyramid, yeah, the Roman temple, the arrow, they're all cliches, and I want to show you how to get rid of those cliches and how to do something different with them. The CEO of this company, I said, "Look, you're not taking this externally. This is an internal presentation, is it?" He said, "No, we're taking this out to the industry." I said, "You can't take this externally." He said, "What do you think people get from it?" And I sort of waited a moment and I said, "Smarties and M&Ms." So very often you're so close to your content that you can't see that no one's getting what you're talking about. And that can be very often a problem. Fundamentally, you need to know this. My favorite quote. Yeah, so please remember this the next time you look at your slides, yeah? Please, you need somebody to health check it for you, to advise you what you're doing right or what you're doing wrong. Let's look at some of the mistakes that people make. Oh, this is very annoying. I never want to hear it again, please, okay? So what is that? What's up on the screen at the moment? It's called Word Art. PowerPoint 2007, okay? We don't use it anymore, okay? Those noises, those claps and cash registers, we don't use any of those anymore either. So please, no more. The common mistake, the most common mistake, is that people tend to put every word they're saying in their PowerPoint slide. Although it eliminates the need to memorize my talk, ultimately it makes your slides crowdy, wordy, and boring. You lose your audience attention before your presentation reaches the end of the first slide. Reading your slides is the #1 hit of most audience members. Do you read your slides? Are the slides for you, or are they for the audience member? Yeah, because that's what the problem is. So if you read your slides, you alienate your audience immediately. I'm asking you to not, you can refer to things, but I'm asking you not to read what's up there. If you start off reading bullet point #1, they switch off immediately. Yeah, that's the common status quo. You've got to change it. So my first pledge for you tonight is to promise me, please. Would you like to all have a go? Let's hear you. I promise to never, ever read another slide, okay? After that one, okay? Yeah, I know. Don't you love the irony, don't you? Heavy on irony, us Northern Irish people. Northern Ireland, you see. Here are the top 10 amateur presenters say. If you recognize yourself in any of them, then please change. We know you're nervous. There's no need to explain that to us before you start. Number 7, not being aware of how long you have. How quickly can you typically present one slide? 1 minute. Typically you've got 1 minute, but if you've got 14 graphs on there, as some financial institutions would have, it's going to take you half an hour to go through one slide. But one message per slide, one key message per slide. Number 4, telling people you're going to read things, they hate you. They palpably hate you. There's a hatred in the room when you say, let me just read this for you. I'm sorry you can't read it at the back. Number 9 is our typical filler words. Yeah, watch for the filler words. Watch, mine would be basically would come in, but there is, business bullshit as well. Have we heard of it? Business bullshit bingo? because people say crazy things in business.
So how are we going to position ourselves?
Let's hit the ground running.
Let's hammer this out.
Let's get our ducks in a row here, guys.
All right, here's the 30,000 foot view.
Let's drill that down.
I'll beef it up.
Can you put a deck together?
Look, I'll do most of the heavy lifting.
Okay, I'll put my feelers out.
Can you send me the dial-in?
What's the dial-in?
Hey, Lauren, what's the dial-in?
I just pinged her.
Somebody ping Carl.
Loop me in on that.
Loop me in on that, will you?
Can you guys loop me in on that?
So what space are you guys in?
Is this B2B?
We're B2C.
Is it C2C?
We're B2C to B.
We're B2C to B, but back to C, sort of. Sometimes A.
We're a brick and mortar.
We're soup to nuts.
Okay, let's ideate.
So what's their value proposition?
What platform are you using?
Who did their UI?
They're UX.
CSS.
IP.
I see.
And it goes on. Yeah, what's your TLA? Have you got TLAs? 3-letter acronyms? Please stop using them because we don't know as an audience member what you're talking about, yeah? So please, I promise to stop using 3-letter acronyms, okay? We don't want you to use them. We want simple, straightforward language. So next is spelling mistakes. There's nothing like losing an audience with a spelling mistake, okay? It's got a red line under it. Please check your spelling before you put it up there. Bullet points, ladies and gentlemen, where do they come from? Bullet points. So the gentleman who invented PowerPoint, which has got 98% share of the whole market, we can try Prezi or Keynote or Bunker or Google Slides. By all means, try something else, but all of the concepts I'm talking to here also refer to PowerPoint, to Keynote. They apply across the board. So the gentleman who invented PowerPoint was driving past a sign in Florida one day, a road sign. It had text on it, and someone had shot a bullet through it. So it actually comes from real live bullets. And I am from Belfast in Northern Ireland where we would like to ban bullets, okay? There are enough bullets. So we want you to be bulletproof. We want you to stop using the round black dot. That's what I mean. I don't mean use the diamond. I don't mean use the tick. I mean stop using them. Stop. There's nothing wrong with segmented text on a slide. I've got no issue with that, but if you use a bullet point, or if you use a diamond or a tick, it immediately says to people, it's PowerPoint, and they switch off. You've got to stop it looking like PowerPoint. I can't believe it's PowerPoint, is what you want to hear people saying, okay? I can't believe your message has so much impact because it doesn't look like PowerPoint anymore. We've got to stop it looking like PowerPoint. And I'm going to show you later where you can come spend time with us for a day, and we'll show you how to do that in more depth. But let's just give you some ideas of how we can do it, because guys like this are saying let's switch it off completely. Jeff Bezos, CEO of Amazon, stopped it completely. No more PowerPoint. And believe it or not, there is a party in Zurich called the Anti-PowerPoint Party, and I'm a member of it. It's against bad use of PowerPoint, and I agree. We must stop using it the way we've been using it. We don't very often blame a car in an accident. We blame the driver. You're driving the slides. It's your job to make it better. So please, pledge number 3 is, I promise, this is going to be hard for some of you, I know, to never use another bullet point. I'm talking about the round black dot, not necessarily the text. We'll come on and look at how we can add to it. Colors, how are colors? Cause problems if you use them incorrectly. We see people using pictures in the background, putting text on top. Nobody can really read it. We're after simple, straightforward use of colors and content. And anyone still using these needs this. Okay, so please stop with the clippy, what's his name? Clicky. The screen beans over here on the right-hand side, these guys. Anything that's, clip arty, cheesy, just doesn't look very good. So please, this one is, I promise to stop using clip art. Now, if I look at all of your slides and I'm slowly removing an awful lot of content from it, you're being left with nothing. You've got a graph and a 3D pie chart at the moment, yeah, because I'm slowly removing everything that you've been doing, okay? Next up, fonts. Any fontists in the room? Anybody who loves fonts? Yeah? So bad font is really... Fonts are route 1 for communication, yeah? And yet people use them awfully. They can't read what's on your slides. What are we after? We're after sans serif fonts, like Arial's to Homas, Stick to 1 or 2 fonts in your presentation. Don't overdo it, and make sure it's not going to get stripped out when you send it to somebody if you're sending it on. You can't use a beautiful font like Archer. Dunedin County Council use a font called Archer. They send it to people, it replaces it with something else, and now the communication's gone. So be careful that the font is embeddable. If you want any advice on that, we've got lots of it. But stay away from the swirly fonts. Grammar and punctuation. Anybody love that? Yeah, we do, don't we? Root 1 for meaning, really. So would somebody like to read this sentence for me? Okay, I'm gonna use something to let you read the message, because we were passing microphones around earlier, and now I've got my catchbox with me. Has everybody seen one of these at conferences? So I'm going to throw it to you. You can look at the floor, but I will hit you on the head with it. Okay? So I'd like someone to read this sentence. Put your hand up if you'd like to catch this. All right, Linda's coming at you. Good. So go ahead, read that nice and loud, please.
A woman without a man is not.
Good, thank you. You read that in the male format and you punctuated it this way. Very well done. Now I would like a female to punctuate it in the female way, please. Don't give it to your neighbor. She doesn't know. Okay, Glenn's going to do it down the back there. Over your head, come on, nice. Hit the window. Come on, I thought Kiwis play rugby. Go for it, Glenn. Now the black dot, yeah, you got it, good. Go for it.
A woman without her.
Hey, give him a round of applause. He punctuated it this way, and he changed the meaning. You can leave it there, it's no problem. So the whole idea is to change meaning by punctuation. Please be very careful about how you punctuate things. One simple change can have a whole change in meaning. Please, if you're using any of these, get rid of them all. I'm talking about smart art, PowerPoint smart art. Yeah, the graph, this arrow, we've all seen this arrow 100 times, the funnel, yeah, just don't use any of them. They're all overused and they're now cliches. We don't use them anymore at all. Yeah, so remove them completely. So please, I would like you to stop using smart art. Yeah, smart art is one of those diagrams that you can put in. Lastly, this common mistake, we all know this person, they spend hours at night doing all the animations they can, making things fly and zoom and whoosh to try and make it look better. The one that they really want to find is this one. Look, I made it swivel. Look, it's swiveling around. It's cool, isn't it? Now my slides are cool. I made something swivel. Cheesy, over-animated, non-communicative PowerPoint. Very bad idea, okay? So please, I promise to stop using cheesy animations. There are a particular type of animations you need to use to communicate well and get your message across. The problem we face is that we don't have very long anymore. Yeah, and now I know a lot of you speak for a living, and maybe you're talking for a whole day, and that's a challenge. How do you create a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour meeting? You can't have people sitting all the time. We've got to change the meeting architecture. But generally 20 minutes is ideal. And does anybody know where it came from? Because with a bit of research, we thought that it came from here, which is the graph of engagement over a 1 hour meeting. And notice that over a 1 hour meeting, that at 40 minutes, the engagement level goes up. Does anybody know why? It's going to be over, yeah? So the presenter says, so in summary. So there's a tip. Sum up more often. Every time you sum up, people get more engaged, yeah? Okay? You know, any expert will tell you that. So look at 20 minutes. Really, it's diving, and it's completely going down. So we also think it came from Guy Kawasaki, the 10-20-30 rule. Has anyone heard of this? So the 10-20-30 rule of presenting is for a pitch, if you were pitching for something. Because Guy Kawasaki is one of the investors in Apple. And I called him up and said, Guy, I want to tell people about this concept. And the concept is simple as this. What would 10 be, the number 10? In a pitch environment, the number of points or slides that you're going to get across. Yeah? Ideally 10 slides. Yeah? In a pitch environment, to a dragon. That sort of environment. Doesn't want 60 slides. He wants 10 slides. That's all he can handle. Delivered in 20 minutes, yeah? 20 minutes is the ideal amount of time that you can get your message across. And what's 30? What would 30 be? 30 is the minimum font size on your slides. Yeah? So 30 is the minimum font. If your slides have less than 30-point font, I would actually put it to you that you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to read it off your slides, and you shouldn't be presenting. Yeah, and that's a challenge for a lot of people, but there's no problem. I can give you another formula around it if you like. I mean, if you look at the typical demographic of who we're pitching to, they look like that. So a bigger font is a good idea, yeah? Look at 32-point font versus the smaller ones. You know, it's very hard to read. If you don't believe me that 30 is the right sort of size of font, then I'll give you a formula. It's down at the bottom there. Find out who the oldest person is in the room, divide his or her age by 2, that is your optimum font size. Unless you're pitching to 18-year-olds, stop using the 9-point font. Okay? Big is good. Big fonts means less information. You can sum it up very quickly with one little statement. It is the difference between knowledge and wisdom. As the person who's going to stand up and present, it is your job to present the wisdom, not the knowledge. If knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit, wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Are you presenting tomatoes to your audiences? Or are you filtering out the real information and making it more impactful? So that's really what we're going to look at next. I've shown you what you shouldn't be doing. Now I'd like to show you 7 ways that you can actually change your slides. And in the time I've got, we're going to look at just each one of these and give you some ideas. And if you'd like, I can show you something practical that you can go back and start doing yourself. Now, first and foremost, here's a couple of examples. This is what Dubai Tourism would give to us to work on their slides, yeah? And, you know, it's a typical slide that we looked at earlier. What's the problem? Well, the main challenge with it is that their logo that they spent millions on developing is stuck lost and alone in the corner. So the first slide we have to put together has to turn into something much more like this. So a little bit of movement, some line movement, move the pictures around, and then introduce the logo. The logo is English left to right and Arabic right to left. It's a lot of money spent on branding and putting that brand together. So that's just one example of sort of communicating a brand. Here again, one of our favorite customers, they really get it. When did you ever get on a flight and not understand how somebody was speaking to you? So they work hard on communication and getting their message across. That is just one part of their logo broken up into all the different parts, just to communicate and just to create some drama and motion at the start and to sell the brand. Everything I'm showing you here, by the way, is just normal PowerPoint. There's no plugins, there's no fancy whiz-bang. This is just animations made better in PowerPoint. This was for a large conference where we had 300 or 400 people in the room. This is on a massive LED wall. This is it pretty much lit up the entire room just to get the messages across. The event was called Propeller. Notice here how the brand starts off and then it flows down into the style of the presentation. So the presentation flows through, no bullet points. It's all imagery and it's all movement and creating a little bit of movement. Now, overly moving movement isn't good either. You have to use it in the right sort of way in terms of how you get it across. So that's really respect your brand and have it up front of your slides and have it well presented and let your brand tell a story. Yeah? So if you think of anyone's brand, brand needs to tell a story and really lock in. When you do talk to people about things, please try to talk about 3 things. We hear about this in Toastmaster with triads, but we also, why are there 3 traffic lights? Wise men, white mice, musketeers, Goldilocks and the Four Bears. Doesn't sound so good, does it? So, does anyone know where 3 comes from? Because I've never found out. I've asked over 12,000 people in the years I've been asking it, and no one's ever given me a satisfactory answer. The thought is that the Trinity comes from 3. So 3 is to do with our brain, but I know for a fact that audiences love 3. Every time I've ever seen it. Let me talk to you about 3 things today. It's in scripture, it's in marketing, it's everywhere. People seem to love it. And here's an $8 million presentation where the company, 2 girls in Dubai, managed to sell their business. This slide originated with 27 things on it. We said, no, we want you to do just 3 things. And they broke it down into the 3. So try to break your messaging down into 3 things that will help you in terms of how you're doing your pitch, and then flow it through into your slides in terms of how it looks and feels. So again, you see text, but not bullet points, and a heavy use of imagery as well. Not everybody's style, but just a way of getting it across. So 3 things works a lot. Now we're going to look a little bit at just getting rid of some of the cliches that we typically see. So here's an example of a slide with a cliche in it, yeah? What's the cliche? The cliche is the PowerPoint shape, yeah? So it says PowerPoint to you. This is before and this is after. Subtle difference. Yeah? What's the difference? Yeah, the text that was in word art shape is now in boxes and different sizes and made bigger, up to 30-point font. But what's the difference with the image in the center? It's clearer, it's bigger, but what else? The background's removed. Thank you, Dana. The background is removed from the picture. Any graphic designers here? No? Well, if you were a graphic designer, what you would be telling me is you need to use Photoshop to do that. It's a $100 package. It takes 3 weeks to learn. You bring in the picture, you use magnetic lasso to draw around it, you save it as a PNG, and you bring it back into PowerPoint. It takes about 20 minutes to do it, and it's pretty hard to do. Can you do it in PowerPoint? Of course you can. Do you do it? No. Why not? I watch people in cars, brand new cars all over the place. What are they doing? They're driving around with their phone up to their ear. Why are they doing that? They're breaking the law, and they don't know that they have a Bluetooth system in their car, and they could connect to it. So they've got something, and they're using maybe 50% of its capability. I would put it to you, you're using 20% of the capability of the software, your presentation software. Do you know that this version of PowerPoint, I can speak in English, and it will live on the screen put any one of 16 languages up on the screen? Right now, it will do it. I could do it. If you wanted me to do it now, I can talk, and it will live translate on the screen. There's a whole library of icons in it. There's a whole load of free images. You just have not upskilled. You're using stuff that you maybe learned 20 years ago, yeah, in PowerPoint. And no one's really taught you how to upskill it. And it's learning all the time. And I'm mad with Microsoft because they're making stuff for us and then they don't tell us about it. Yeah, it's sitting there right in front of you. All you got to do is learn to poke it and make it work, and you can change and make your slides look like this. Would you like me to show you how to take the background off a picture? You can go back and have a go. All right, let's do it. Grab a chair. Just takes about, I don't know, we'll see if, start a timer if you want. So if I take this picture, and if I make it bigger, when you click on a picture, at the top here, you've got picture tools in PowerPoint. You click on picture tools, and hiding right over there, right in front of you, remove background. Click on remove background, and I have to mark some areas to keep, which is my pencil. Now becomes a pencil, my mouse does. I draw on the areas that I'd like to keep. PowerPoint is going to delete the pink areas. So within a couple of clicks, I now click, I say keep changes, and boom, there you go. That's in every PowerPoint since 2007. And nobody uses it. And if that's all you did to your slides, if the only thing you did tomorrow was go to your slides and start removing the background, there is a guy sitting in TVNZ doing it right now for the news tonight. And he's paid a fortune. And you can do it in PowerPoint. And you can create slides that have impact and look better. So that's just picture background removal tool, one of the many things that we go through in our one-day course of looking at this and how you can do it. Now, how do we get rid of the bullet points? We can add infographics, can't we? So how are we going to add infographics? Have these people got the idea? Well, they kind of have. They've got a lot of data on there. They've got a lot of information. But we actually see 4 or 5 slides here. This is a slide. This is a slide. Their logo is a slide. So we tend to see how you can put it together. So what do we do with it? We add some animation and movement and split it down into those different parts. But there's one particular object coming up that I want you to consider, because it is a solution to bullet points, and it is the icon. So this icon of a brain, yeah, is your route to getting rid of the bullet points. You can have a piece of text up there, but the piece of text, if it says something about, learning, or you're going to use an icon. Now, where do you get icons from? I mean, the ideal thing is to use icons because they've got no rights associated with them, unless it's a particular set of them, but you can download and you can use those. By the way, I will make sure you've all got these slides, so feel free to take pictures, but I will make sure you get them all. So where do we get an icon from? Go on, tell me, you know the answer. It's in PowerPoint, so insert and icons. Click on icons, and we've got a huge library of icons sitting there, updated live. And now I know some of you are sitting there thinking, well, it's not in my PowerPoint. That's because you're not using Office 365, possibly because you're not paying for Microsoft PowerPoint. You're using an old version of PowerPoint and expecting to get something for nothing. It's $90 a year, please, okay? That's all it is for Office 365, and you get all of these features when you go. I really should be working for Microsoft, shouldn't I? But I'm not. I'm just feeding back to them. So we want to put in a brain, or you want to put in a light bulb, insert these little icons in, immediately appear on the slide, go to format, give the graphic fill, change them to be a different color, make them larger. It's really no more complicated than what I'm doing right now. You can literally just sit there, put them on the slide, move them around, and all of a sudden you've got icons on a slide instead of having pictures or cheesy clip art, yeah? So it's just simply a matter of loading the icons onto the slide. You could also go to flaticon.com, which is somewhere where you can download and you can get slides or icons to download. And if you're really nice to me, I'll give you 1,500 icons in PowerPoint tonight by the end of the day. Okay, I'll explain where to get them. So once you understand icons, you can start to tell stories with icons. And this is what CEOs come to us with all the time, because the CEOs are frustrated because marketing's giving them a graph showing the growth of the data industry. And what the CEOs want to say is, imagine a Maasai warrior in Africa. If we give him a smartphone, he has access to more information than Ronnie Reagan did during his entire tenure as president. If we give him a smartphone, he has access to more information than Clinton did. So marketing are showing graphs, line graphs of the data growth, and the CEOs want to tell these stories. So data visualization and stopping telling us boring information in graphs that we've no interest in. Remove the knowledge and give us the wisdom of what it's all about. That's what takes great stories out of data, and that's what gets people fired up and interested. You can then start making stuff like this, yeah? Have some animations, some movements, and breaking it down. So infographics and animated infographics, along with data visualization, are your route one to changing your boring looking slides. And we can teach you how to do that. Everybody loves a timeline. How long have you been doing something? Where are you going from? Where are you going to? This is a PowerPoint slide. It's only 0.5 MB, goes through any firewall, can send it to your customers. There are 12 different uses for PowerPoint. PowerPoint can be a video editor. You can make videos to go on YouTube in PowerPoint. You can make timelines that tell a story of where your company's come from and where it's going to in an animation format, all made in the program. You don't have to go crazy. This is just a simpler version of a timeline where you push the information through. These are just 2 slides, but it's much more engaging than trying to tell a whole story with a whole lot of it packed onto the slide. So timelines are a great way of getting it across. And what's coming more and more is media, video and audio. So here's a slide for our Skyline. You'll notice here that this is a video. We're not playing a video, but we're not explaining it as a video. We're just using it as a moving picture in the background. So that's video used in the background of a slide. PowerPoint's great at it, absolutely great at it. We're also adding interaction to slides, because if I click on West Coast up here, it will jump to the relevant slide. So it's like a digital brochure in PowerPoint, yeah? So if I click on an area, it moves to that area. Yeah. Now, if you're a trainer, as I am, with 350 slides in here, yeah, then your solution to that is called PowerPoint Zoom, which allows you to section up all your slides and then zoom interactively through them. If you use it with Spotlight, you don't need to go near your computer at all. You can drive the whole thing from the stage. And we teach that in the one-day course, which we'll explain where you can sign up for. So media is something that's changing a lot. But also, if anybody's in real estate or medical, or it could be anything, 3D is really just appearing now. So we've now got a whole library of different 3D objects. The heart here is actually an object within PowerPoint. You can spin and move it around. You can create your own 3D objects. So I just saw a presentation recently where they took the whole audience on a journey through a tree, into the roots of a tree, out the branches of a tree. You can make this type of stuff now. So it's only limited by your own imagination. Yeah, so come up with your own ideas and tell a story, yeah, with it. The audience will love you for it, and it will help you. It will also give you more confidence. If you know your content is better and how you're presenting it is better, then there's much more fun involved. So we've taken some pledges. We've looked at just 7 simple ways that we could change it, but there's lots of different lines of business. You may be in hospitality, for example, and we've got lots of different ways. Glenorchy, Camp Glenorchy would be an example of something we worked on recently. You see the clouds moving in the background there, and then we go through into the sort of the overview of it. They've got a funky brand. Has anyone been here? Great spot. Yeah, you liked it? Yeah. No hair dryers and no kettles. So you're net zero when you go here. It's a wonderful camp. Composting toilets, very nice ones. No challenge. So yeah, just imagery gets a message across to start off with. Sets the scene, yeah, before you actually want to get there. And then, kind of down into who are the people who created it, where did they come from. So that's typically of what we'd do in hospitality. Again, just some nice movements, no flashy zooms, no simple text in terms of getting across. Healthcare we work in as well. Also, ports and logistics would be a key area that we'd work with, and also telecom. But it's not listed or limited to any one in particular. It's all industries need some help with it. So don't be afraid to disrupt and change the norm, as we mentioned earlier. There's no real problem with changing the way you do things. Try something different. And if you think about it, in summary, you don't really get a newspaper, you get news. You don't really get glasses, you get vision. You don't really get a mattress, you get sleep. And you don't really get a lamp, you get light. Well, if you use presentology, you're not really getting a presentation, you're getting applause. Thank you very much. So where can you find out more about this? Well, all the slides from today, and in fact many more of them, are available at this little website. This is my presenter's website. So this is where you can get information about me, information about the company, but there's a survey on there. If you liked what I was saying or you want to connect with us, just connect with me. It's ideally used on your phone, but you can use it on anything. Just go to that little URL, that little website address, and you can click on this flashing cursor, which will connect with and give you the chance to give us some feedback. The other place that we can work with you on is send me your presentation, and my advice will come back in droves, yeah? I have no problem at all. I would like to offer NSA, all of you, a free presentation health check. So just send it through to me, whether you're speaking or you're standing up talking, we will give you the direct feedback. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. We don't know everything, but certainly about the content. And the thing I'm passionate about is how you're connecting with the audience. Are you really making a connection? Are you the sage on the stage, or are you the linking with the audience? Are you connecting with them? Are you using the wisdom of the crowd and filtering that and bringing it out? Because that's what audiences want. They want you to use the knowledge in the room. There's a book on it. It's called The Presentation Secrets of Steve Jobs, #1, but also The Wisdom of Crowds by James Surowiecki. Yeah, a great book. And there's now a TED study into it. TED are now working heavily on how we meet and how we connect with audiences and how we get information from people in the right way. And then lastly, of course, we're going to run a course in July here on the 30th of July before the meeting, the July meeting. We're going to be in this room from 9:30 to 4:30 with myself and Diana. And we're going to work on general presentation skills. But I'll be doing content and she'll be doing the people. I actually wanted to call it this. What do you think? Do you like it? Come on, Diana, it's better. It's way better. But I got beaten back, I'm sorry. We're back to this, I'm sorry, yeah. So advanced presentation skills for leaders, or advanced presentations for leaders. Or if you want to call it pimp my prezzo, then fine. Yeah, if you can pimp your garage, we can pimp your prezzo as well. So yeah, whole day, and we'll get right into detail. We won't go into intimate detail on everybody's slides, but you will actually get a chance to, really spend longer. Because I've only really given you, a snapshot of what you're able to focus in on. So that's how you can connect with me. By the way, what happened to QR codes? They're so cool. You don't need a QR code reader. You just switch on your phone, hold it up, and it will automatically give you my contact details. So you just need any device, zoom in on it, and it should immediately, and it's great for sending people off to websites or connecting with people. Any questions? Because I hope there are some, if there's anything I can advise on. Yeah, can we throw the catch box to the people with their hands up? Because that's so the others can hear, coming at you.
Yes, spoke to you earlier about it. I'm a keynote person, not a PowerPoint.
Not a
so obviously everything you have is for PowerPoint, not keynote.
Not at all. Every single thing I just told you is absolutely applicable to Keynote.
Yeah, but it looks nothing like that on Keynote.
All of the pledges I asked you to take, and all of the content that I've gone through there, adding infographics is all totally possible in Keynote.
Oh, no, it's possible. When I look at that, it's very different from looking at a Keynote, what you add in, and the way it's not the same layout at all.
Yes, so I mean, as I mentioned to you earlier, 97% of people are using PowerPoint, and that's the sort of generally but people do come on the training and bring Keynote, and we say, go ahead, do this, do that, and they do it. So it's all applicable across all of them. Slides is the other one, Google Slides, and also Keynote, and other people are on different platforms as well. A lot of people, has anyone tried Prezi, P-R-E-Z-I, Prezi? A lot of people want to try Prezi. What's your experience with Prezi? Good, bad, indifferent? Good. It's different. It makes you look different. It's got some challenges. One of the main challenges is audience nausea if you use too many moves. Yeah, so be careful with zooming around. But definitely a lot of the concepts that I'm showing. But yeah, I mean, I will be showing people how to add icons. There is no icon library in Keynote, for example. Yeah, you have to go outside and find an icon and bring it in. A lot of people go to Apple because it is a brilliant platform and it's incredibly stable, and that's what we want. We want stability. We don't want things that crash and fall over. But frankly, Microsoft has caught up, has tried to catch up. And my old story about this is, if I asked Lamborghini to build a car for Ferrari, would they do a good job? No. So Microsoft are never going to build a good program to run on Apple. So what we find a lot of people doing on Apple is running Parallels and running Windows and actually running PC PowerPoint on their Mac. I know, heaven forbid, that seems like a mad thing to do, but that's what we find people are doing. And it's unfortunately just the corporate world is totally based around PC PowerPoint. So I know speakers are not, and we will definitely, so if anyone's got an opinion on that, but the concepts are the same. Infographics, bulleted lists, add imagery, you can just apply it to the different software. Yeah? Yeah, do you use it successfully? Yeah, so we just have a comment here saying that he runs Parallels on the Mac, and Parallels allows you to boot up into Windows 10 and run PC PowerPoint on your PC. On your Mac. So you can have PC PowerPoint running on your, and PC PowerPoint is far, far ahead of anything we've seen so far. I mean, the translation alone for anyone that's traveling is absolutely amazing, and it works beautifully. It's just on our slideshow. It's over here on the right. Always use subtitles. My current subtitle settings are, it's in English. Does anybody have a language that they know here? Take a choice.
German.
Have we got a German? Okay, let's give it a go. Now it's going to try and listen to me on the microphone just in my computer. So you may forgive me. So I've just switched it on, and what it's now doing, it's now listening to me. There you go. So I don't have my microphone turned on. So you just need a microphone. I've been using a headset microphone, and you can plug it in. But we've got the sound coming out. Let me just try. Gavin, can I just remove the sound jack here? Yeah. Just because it's. So just try that again. Good evening. I am speaking to my computer in English, and it is live translating in PowerPoint in German. It's wonderful to be here tonight in Auckland, and I hope that this translation is going pretty well. So you can be speaking in English and cross-communicating, and it's live. It's absolutely live, using Google Translate to do that. Hi, Colin. Could we speak on the catch box or a mic, just so that the viewers at home can hear?
How do you create a PowerPoint that isn't 20 gigabytes big? If you're doing all those pictures and all those sort of things, you get massive files.
PowerPoint compresses all of your images now, so they're not 20 gigabytes. So this deck that I'm using is 480 slides with externally linked over 150 videos, and it's 120 megabytes. Because we teach you how to link the videos, not embed them. Once you start embedding videos, it grows and grows and grows.
Yeah.
And then it can become a problem. You end up being the person shutting down the network by, having that 5 gigabyte, PowerPoint. No, this is only 120 megabytes with the linked file. When you insert a picture, you get the option, or insert anything. Look, PowerPoint, I want you to stop thinking of it as a presentation tool. It is a container for pictures, stories, text, video, media, and actually, if you save it as a zip file, you can expand it and see all the files that are in it. It's just a big container with an XML program telling you how to put it. So you can actually, when you insert a video, it will ask you, do you want to link it or do you want to embed it?
It relies on an internet connection, though, doesn't
No,
it?
not at all. No. We don't use online videos in
Yeah,
PowerPoint at
okay,
all because
cool.
they just crash, and invariably you don't have network. Cool. But we can go through that. Yeah, Rob. How you doing, Rob? And Glenn wants a word.
Oh, you touched on this, that Keynote for the Mac used to be well ahead. And so what's your view on how they compare now in terms of capabilities for,
We use Keynote regularly for this one specific environment. And please forgive me, but this is it. An award show. Because we have flaming text and we can put on flaming text. It is wonderful for an award show. You're doing a big award show, some of the animations are wonderful. But look, you only have to listen to what's called the world's leading podcast, the presentation podcast, and they talk about it all the time. They talk about the fact that it used to be so good, but they just didn't keep up with it, and PowerPoint is far, far ahead now in terms of its capability and functionality. Like, something like that live translation just isn't ever going to come to Keynote. It's just not going to happen. So Microsoft have leapt ahead with it, and frankly, people like Jeff Bezos have helped them. By saying we're going to stop using it, it's really put a focus back on it. I'm one of 500 MVPs around the world, most valuable professionals, who are pushing the product and saying, this is wrong, this doesn't work, we got to change this, people hate this. So it's been a massive effort. We're all pushing very hard on the product. And PowerPoint is essentially a group of different applets that are pulled together. So quite often people will bring their Mac to an event, to one of my training, and I'll say, right, insert the picture and remove the background. And it's not in the Mac version. So that little part, that removed picture background, isn't in the Mac version. And I'm like, why is it not? When we speak to Microsoft, and they're like, because it's a completely different section. So you can't do a lot of the stuff that we want to do. So the bad news for you in terms of Mac users is that you need to put PC PowerPoint on your Mac if you're going to be really serious about some of this stuff. And that's fundamentally bad news. I love the hardware. The hardware is perfect. It is rock solid in comparison. But this is a Microsoft Surface Pro 3, and I have had it for 4 years. It's unbelievably robust. I have never been able to break it. It has never blue screened on me. It's never crashed. The reason why PCs crashed is they had non-solid state drives. That was the main problem. The solid state drive was the main changer for PowerPoint, because PowerPoint is data hungry. It wants all of the data in one go. And if you give it a solid state drive, it's just going to whoosh through. But you got to pay for that.
And the final thought then, Google Sheets, how do they compare?
Google Slides?
Sorry, yes, slides, yeah.
Schools and colleges, not professional. So, kids standing up and presenting with kind of a plugged in video, a YouTube video, absolutely fine for that, but not, you out delivering a keynote, So, I mean, one of the simplest things we do with trainers is I push and hold this button at the bottom, and and now I'm back to my first slide and still translating, as you can see, but what I'm back to now is called Google Zoom for PowerPoint, So I can zoom into any one of the sections of my presentation. And all I do when I want to go back into, let's talk about delivering with confidence, and then I'm immediately into that section, I hit the button and it brings me back up again. So we can drop down into any section. And down here, what I'm doing at the moment is you choose. So at the start of my training day, what I do now is I say to the audience, choose. I give them all a clicker and they all vote on what they want to talk about next. Do you think that's engaging? Yeah. The audience get to choose what I talk about. What does that say to them? I know anything you want to talk to me about. We can go in any order. So that's, the whole concept of creating that interaction is really happening. Yeah, does that have you ideas? Sorry, yeah. John, how are you?
This is weird.
It is weird, but we've broken a few glasses over the years, yeah.
Yeah, just a thought sort of leapt into my mind. What is your thought about changing the method of presentation, because we're sort of trained, skilled to stand and do our presentation, but from what you're doing, I can actually see that working with you actually sitting behind a desk, changing the slides for your presentation. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm in a training environment where I'm training on computers. I will sit down and join the group and work together on it. But when I'm standing up presenting, then I'm delivering the content. That's the main difference that I see in terms of delivering it. But yes, if you're working with people on, there's no problem with getting into a campfire arrangement where people work together in a circle. And we talked a little bit about meeting architecture as well. It's another whole subject. I've just done a roadshow around New Zealand on it, meeting architecture and event technology. And it applies to you guys because you're out there meeting people. And if you can get people to work together with Slido or some of the other tools, Mentimeter or some of the other ways, it's very engaging. And you can get down amongst people and work together and bring out the ideas. Yeah. So thanks. Yeah. Just behind you there, and then
so you mentioned,
I just want the people at home to pick up our colleagues in Christchurch.
Yeah, sorry. So you mentioned the clicker, John. So
Yep.
Where do you get these clickers from? And
any Apple store will sell these to you. I did want to bring one each for you tonight. I asked Logitech, but they said no.
And how do they work at the other end?
These clickers, this clicker is communicating to my computer by Bluetooth, so there's no plug-in. There is a little receiver here which you can plug in, but it just charges up in your hand, and you charge it up beforehand, and it can shake in your hand. But the main use of it is to just be able to highlight and move around on the screen. So if I've got multiple screens, and at medical events you'd have two big screens, then one use of this can connect.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
So it's a clicker. It's up to 50 meters. It's Bluetooth 5, so it's easily good enough for most presentations. So come and have a play with it later if you want. Anybody else? Glenn, did you want to say something? Are you done? Or?
Sorry.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi.
Yes.
Can you just quickly show us where the zoom function is on the photographs? So the Glenorchy photograph where you had the couple who obviously founded it, and it's moving in from the background. I know it's an easy thing to do. But is that on there, or did you do that separately?
No, it is. It's on PowerPoint. I can happily spend longer with you, but essentially what we do is we take a picture, and we make a duplicate of it, and we cut out the part in the middle, put that on top. Yeah, and then the picture behind, we make it either get bigger or smaller. And if you watch on the news, it's called a pull focus. If you watch on the news, you'll see a Syrian soldier with a child in a street, with a war-torn street, and the whole thing's moving. Ports of Auckland will have a worker with a dock behind him, and it's a depth of field thing, and people love it. Yeah. And it's just, you can literally learn to do it in, I'd say from start to finish, I could teach you in 22 minutes, no problem, from start to finish. Absolutely done. It's really easy. And it all hinges around that picture background removal. If you remove the picture. But again, remember to use movements appropriately. Everything needs to be done appropriately and working. But just by having big imagery and making it move, people are drawn to it. They like it. And you cement yourself as a more engaging presenter because you're kind of more comfortable with what you've got going on behind you as well. In terms of using it. And there are probably 20 other tools I haven't shown you tonight because I haven't had time, but we'll be doing it on that one day if Diana lets me have enough time. Are you going to let me give you time? Yeah. We'll have a battle about who's doing what, because at the end of the day, people don't buy from PowerPoint. They buy from people. So as anyone will tell you, this is useless if you try to let this carry you. It's not going to carry you. Yeah, it's visual media that will back you up. But at the end of the day, you need to work on your own style and work on your own pitch and how you get it across. And the bulb may go in the projector. Turn it off. Can you do it with the projector off? You need to do that. So don't hide behind the media, because the audience will catch you real quick. And I know that wasn't your question. Anything else, or am I out of time? Because my timekeeping's. Am I good? Are we all right? Any other questions? Yeah, Glenn?
Oh, gosh. I can't throw that far.
Yeah, you can. Go on.
I'm not a wide receiver. Wide?
England versus New Zealand.
Relay. Okay.
Oh, we're doing a relay, right? Okay, there you go. Look, it's a swinging pass. Awesome, Glenn.
So you may have already spoken to this, and I may have missed it a little bit, but your videos are not embedded in the PowerPoint.
Yes.
They are as a separate file. Can I assume that you are always running your presentations off your own laptop?
Yes.
Okay. So you get conference organisers who say, please send through your PowerPoint a week in advance,
Yep.
and you say no.
No, I say yes. Yep.
So you send it through.
Because every file is in Dropbox. All
Right,
of them.
okay.
The whole
Okay,
3 gigabytes is in Dropbox.
Okay, yep, yep.
So I just send them the link to the master folder, and they can have the whole lot.
So but when you get to the conference, you're running your presentation still off your own laptop?
I am, yep. But
because you can't use that Logitech Spotlight with the system.
No, so I'll have a USB drive. I'll give it to the AV guy. On it is a Logitech control file. Myself and
Brilliant.
Gavin were chatting about this before. It's a little installable file that they
Okay.
need to install.
Yep.
And I also have a USB drive with a package for CD. Have you ever seen package for folder? So PowerPoint, you can instruct PowerPoint to, I'm going to take my presentation now onto a USB drive. Can you package it onto there? So it's just under save, file, save as, export. You can export the whole presentation, and use a checkbox for include linked files, and it will go everywhere and get all the linked files. So it could be on a server, it could be on your computer, it could be in 12 different places. But good practice is always to have the PowerPoint with all the video files in the same folder, because that's the first place it looks for.
Yeah.
It goes to the folder to find them. If it's not there, then it goes out on to wherever. But please do not use YouTube videos. There is an option to insert an online video, and that's only to be used in a very specific environment where you know that you're going to have an internet connection. Because
So what's the downside of embedding videos into your slideshow?
there's none.
Okay.
There's none if you've only got 10, then no problem. But if you've got 5 gigabytes, look. We actually built a presentation that had 1,865 slides.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't know what was going to happen when we went to 999 to 1,000. But actually what I learned is that you could have 1 million slides.
Right.
There's no limit to it. It just keeps going. And with solid state drives, with digital computers, no hard drives, because the spinning hard drive is going to let you down, yeah? With solid state drives, it will just keep going. It'll keep sucking in the data all day. So you could have a massive file now. I mean, there was a day when a gigabyte seemed impossible, but now it's nothing really. I mean, it's on a flash drive. So just keep going. And if you want my advice, load them all in. Don't. PowerPoint's totally capable to suck it all in. You may find it choke a little bit at the start, but that's only your first boot up when it's booting up. And look at compressing the videos as well. I mean, there's no point in having a 1 gigabyte video on a 720, 1080 machine, because it's not doing 4K. If you've got 4K files, compress them down. Whoosh. Yeah, so MP4, PowerPoint loves. Slide formats? Oh, 4:3 and 16:9, yeah. So we're all about widescreen now. No more 16, no more 4:3 unless you talk to Gavin. Gavin has one application for 4:3, but the origin of 4:3 was our head size and the fact our eyes are 4:3 to our mouth. That's the origins of it in television. Then along came CinemaScope and the widescreens, and the screens got wider, and now we're at 16:9. Most screens are 16:9, but you see the black at the top and the bottom here, and if we drop this screen, you'll find it's 16:9. So most things are widescreen, and it gives you more video real estate to play with. You'll notice that when you go from 4:3 to widescreen, it's like, oh, I've got so much space now, I can move stuff around. And remember, visual hierarchy says negative space and have good contrast, color, and that's something else we go through, some basic sort of concepts of how you lay things out. Rule of thirds is another one. Yeah.
Question from the online was
Yes.
the possibility of you doing. Can you do a
session in Christchurch is the question from online.
I was there last week. I'd love to. I would love to. Yeah, we're kind of doing one now, but I'd love to come up to Christchurch. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm in Queenstown, so I'm up back and forwards all the time.
49999.
Is that the price, Dennis?
Yeah.
Dennis is quoting a price already.
9.
For sure, we'd love to travel around, and the whole idea is to get people changing and doing this. Absolutely. Cool. Any other questions? Any other comments? But thank you very much for investing the time. Really appreciate it. Go and make some new slides. Keep in touch. And if you're interested, get in touch with me or Diana. Come along on the 30th of July, in this room, and we will do our very best to take you from zero to hero. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Stay up here a minute, Johnny. Wasn't that fantastic? That was incredible. Wow. Thank you so much, Johnny. On behalf of everyone here, we've really, really been blown away by your presentation. And we've just got, I'm going to give the card too. We have a small gift if you'd like to pop up here.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of us all. And
thank you.
Thank you again. It was amazing.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.